up, everybody? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. Sorry for the late start. That's my fault. My name is Kyle Smith. I'm joined by Adam Carlson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. I've got a cat on my lap and a cat looking out the window, and I'm just kind of sitting here ready to talk about Vikings football.
Perfect. Two cats and an Adam. Let's start that show. Kyle West is here. What's going on?
That's the beginning of a joke.
Netflix would cancel it after one season.
Two cats and Adam Carlson walk into a bar. No, hey guys.
Dirty joke for you guys after the show too. Remind me of
fantastic. That. Fantastic! I can't wait. We have a schedule. We can discuss a schedule, and we can talk about whether or not we will find a loss on that schedule.
I love that Adam and I sent it to each other, and we were like one off. And I was like, we've been friends and working on this shit way too long. Yeah, we were discussing it last week on the show. It was like a day before the schedule release, and it's the off season. So, we have certain things we want to talk about and cover, but it's kind of slow right now. So, yeah, we have the official schedule release. I'm trying to find tickets myself to a game that I would like to go to in September versus the Detroit Lions. Still get to see Minnesota when it's not a frozen tundra outside. But, yeah, there's some interesting matchups. There's good stretches. There are bad stretches, in my opinion. And I know we can do that like game by game if we want. But do we have JC Tretter news? Adam, did I see that on Twitter? Is that kind of why we went with this title this week? Because I had no creative juice for the title this week.
I put out an article over on the Viking Age recently that over on Score North, they reported that they had information that JC Tretter had a list of teams that he wanted to play for. The Vikings were on that short list. So apparently there is interest to come here. And Vikings fans, many of them, have been asking for his services. Now let's just see if Minnesota will be aggressive and go get him, or if maybe he's a little bit priced out of their range, or what's going to happen here. But that is the information on it.
Yeah, I'd seen that his dad as well has been active on some sort of social media, or at least reaching out for social media outlets to report, saying that, hey, if the Vikings hit us up, it's one of the teams, like you said. I'm sure the money has to be right for him, but I don't know. How do we feel here at the show and the guys that are watching? How do you guys feel? Do you want a new center? Or, I'm sure some of you do, but my problem is he has two bad knees, and I'm not saying he can't play. I'm not saying he won't be ready to play, but that kind of bothers me a little bit.
We've seen
it should be a little scary.
Right. We've seen what happens with offensive linemen and knee injuries. That happened with Matt Khalil. It's a difficult thing to come back from for a lineman. I want a new center. I don't believe in Garrett Bradbury one bit. I am interested, like we've discussed on the show. Kevin O'Connell seems to have a plan for him, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see how that shakes out. But I'm more than willing to move on from him. Is JC Tretter that guy? I don't know. Are we plugging out one issue for another issue? Potentially. I don't know. I'm not really on board the Tretter bandwagon as hard as what other fans are, I guess.
It's hard to make a decisive call on this, even as a fan, because we don't know what the blocking scheme's going to be. We don't know if the improved help around Barry is going to be able to help him to be better. We don't know if they're going to be focused on his athleticism rather than being a direct forward blocker against these big defensive tackles. We don't know how the stunts are going to work, if any. I mean, this is going to be something very different this year. And if we were basing this on how the Vikings were approaching blocking the last few seasons, I would automatically say that, yeah, Bradbury needs to go. But as of right now, with Bradbury being on his rookie contract, being kind of cheap, and them declining the fifth-year option, they're in a situation where they might have to just say, this is a big test for you. Go out and prove it, and have faith that he will be able to do that. On the roster behind him, there isn't a lot of talent at center. There isn't. But still, I mean, with everything they've done to upgrade the other positions on the offensive line, bringing a little bit of depth, I'm sure that they will be able to find some kind of plan in place. It's all going to come down to money, though. I do believe that. Now, if the Vikings truly believe that Tretter has interest in coming to Minnesota, they're going to have to explore those options because any good team will keep exploring any option as far as how to improve this team heading into the season, as long as it doesn't do damage to building the future of the franchise.
I wonder if there's a reality where he could come in. Obviously, they would keep Bradbury. They're not going to cut him, but I guess moving forward after this year is the big question. I think you're alluding to that, but is this going to be somewhere they address next season? Because I feel like the line is almost complete. How long will it stay complete and maybe be top tier? Who knows? But the tackles are good. It looks like we have a guard that's going to be – Ed Ingram's going to find his way somewhere on the line. I don't know where.
I believe he'll start at right guard.
Right
I think
guard
we'll get Ezra Cleveland back at left guard.
Unless you're looking at
we've got Darrisaw at left tackle. I think that those four are pretty much a good case scenario.
There's some wacky projections out there. We went through Adam's 53-man roster. Maybe we can bug him to do starters, the 22 starters, but I was just laughing at some of those projections last week and the stuff we shared over the weekend.
And we saw a few other projections that just made literally no sense. We were having some fun with those in our private chats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for, hey, I'm going to ride it out with Bradbury. Like we're pretty pro Bradbury for one more year just to see what the coach can do. But
I don't know forward. Hold on here. Hold on.
I'm mid Bradbury.
I'm not pro Garrett Bradbury.
No, you didn't say the whole thing. Pro Garrett Bradbury. Let's see what the coach can do. That doesn't mean you got to sign him or extend him. I just want to see. Hey, what's he going to do?
I'm pro Bradbury. I don't want that anywhere near my quote list.
All right,
correct. I'm accepting of the fact that we're probably stuck with him for another.
There
season.
We go.
And if we're projecting forward to what are we looking at now? 2023 NFL draft. Vikings are taking a center in the first round right now. That's where I would be sitting.
I don't think it would have to be a first, but first, second, or third maybe. Or even a cheap free agent wouldn't be bad at that point.
Yeah, my buddy John says, as long as Bradbury's not starting for it, guys, sorry, the count death row. Yeah, he's not a fan of Bradbury. I love that you come every week with the same energy, though. That's good. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen him have some good spots, but when the offensive lineman is bad, it's noticeably bad. Like we said on the show last week, it's something we've never heard on any show before. A good lineman is when you don't talk about it, you don't notice, but the noticeable plays from Bradbury outside of some wacky catch and run of 20-some yards, they're kind of embarrassing. So here it is. Kirk Cousins with the top 10 O-line would be beautiful. I mean, yeah, and that would alleviate a lot of the excuses. A lot of the people that are a little bit higher than I am on them, I'd like to see that too, though. I think it's a fair shot and a fair assumption that he could do way better than – God, I don't know how he survived that first year he got here. That's probably one of the reasons why the fumbles were so bad.
And even Kirk's ability to get rid of the ball quickly when he was faced with pressure has been amazing. Yeah, his completion percentage was down. That's because he was having to get rid of the ball and make decisions as to whether to try to force it somewhere or throw it away.
What? Yeah, I had to ask.
There's something interesting. Yeah, apparently we have been talking very highly of CJ Ham recently on our shows, and now we got a little bit more information that CJ Ham might be splitting out to tight end every once in a while to extend a little bit of his plays, to be a blocker in situations. That, if they do that, it will make their blocking tight end a little bit more of a question as to whether or not they keep him on the 53 or whether they put him on the practice squad. So that's kind of something to watch a little bit going forward too. But I'm all for using Ham in many situations, considering he's a good blocker and he's a sneaky receiving option out of the backfield.
And he's a good special teams player. He can contribute on special teams. And that's kind of an area that this team has been lacking in for the past few years now. So I do think they're going to put as much of a priority as you can on finding those players who can contribute on special teams, as well as, whatever their role is on the active roster.
Absolutely. So yeah, we got that was some pretty interesting roster news there, and whether or not we get any information about a future for Tretter in Minnesota is strange. But yeah, the big news has been the schedule release. And honestly, the schedule, as far as it stands right now, just looking at it without a whole lot of other context, doesn't look too bad.
Don, I'm going to look this up real quick. I'm almost positive we have $10 million or more. The rookies signed, some of them, not all of them, but.
Okay, I don't really understand this, so maybe you guys read up on it. What is the deal with Ed Ingram and his signing? Because I've heard that he's refused to sign his contract.
Hey, I don't know what the hell that's about.
And I was hoping you guys had read up on it because I haven't.
I don't think there's been an update really since that initial report that came out. What round was he picked in?
Third.
So I was wondering, man, I was thinking, well, if he was a second rounder, maybe he's hoping for that guaranteed contract like the first rounders get. But being a third makes it a little difficult to make that kind of push. So I don't know what.
I'm hoping it's a negotiation so that he can start the season a little bit on the PUP list so he can heal up a little bit more before he has to attend other events. I'm hoping that's the case. I haven't read in a lot of it, but that to me is hopefully what the issue is that's keeping him from signing.
And if that's his thought process, I don't really like that. You want your rookies with your team. Even if you're in an Andrew Booth situation where, hey, he's at, what did we just have? Rookie, what's it called? Rookie OTAs
rookie minicamp or OTAs?
Rookie minicamp. There you go. So Booth is out there in minicamp and he's on the sidelines, but he's still with the team. He's still engaging and learning the playbook, and they're working his mind, is what Kevin O'Connell said. So I guess I don't like the thought of.
So you're saying show up to work and then work out the details later?
Yeah.
You trust the team will take care of you?
Yeah.
Would you do that with any workplace that you go to?
Okay, but my work is being okay, but hold on. I'm not a professional football player. Like, the Vikings picked him in the third round because they.
So you're not good at what you do and deserve to be paid, right?
Yeah, but my work will fuck me over completely.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
This is, and I know what Adam's doing, and this is the conversation you got to have with the assholes on the internet who are just like, these guys just throw a ball. We need to pay the firemen. It's like, guy, do you understand how capitalism works? Answer is fuck no, you don't. We know that already. Sorry for the swearing. I'm not sorry.
If a fire department had the kind of income that an NFL team had, I'm sure firemen would be getting paid a great amount of money.
When you fail economics and the basic social studies of America, I mean, I can't really help you there. It's the answer is right out there. You just have to look a little bit. But anyway.
No, yeah, I do believe that firemen, teachers, a lot of the jobs that are just criminally underpaid deserve a lot more. And the salaries of these players and coaches and owners are getting, they're absolutely out of hand. But when I see someone doing the whole, this player makes this much money and average teacher makes this, it makes no sense to me, because people just absolutely go crazy on Jeff Bezos because he's so rich, he could do so much. But I mean, this is like a situation where you're saying the owner should keep the money and not pass it down to his employees, and it makes no sense to me.
It doesn't. It's just hilarious looking at, because obviously we're not anti, police, teacher, fireman, first responder, all that. It's just there's a good, if we weren't doing a Viking show, we were just having a bullshit podcast, we would talk about all kinds of social stuff if we wanted to. Bill Burr does a great bit on that. He was making fun of those, and it's a good joke if you can just not just easily be offended or think he's saying one thing. But he said something along the lines of, he goes, you know how they'll have you like stand up at the game for veterans that are there? He's like, well, I don't want to stand up for a cook in the Navy. I want the guy who got the bomb shot at him. And I'm like, that's an incredible joke, right? And it's nothing like, he's not anti-troop. Same way we're not like anti-first responder, teacher, all that, nurses, all that. I don't understand how anyone doesn't understand how the NFL works. The money they're making is ridiculous. So, of course, these guys are going to get paid. And, to your point, we've said this before, got to go on a rant on it now. We're already there. These guys are in the top 0.1% of their job. Like, I am so replaceable at work.
Right.
Kyle is so replaceable at work because people can do our jobs. You can't do what those guys do. Like,
there's one person at my work that realized if I didn't do stuff. One.
And you know what's crazy? Just to brag on these guys too, like they go back, like Jerome Bettis just got his degree this weekend. Did you see that?
Yes.
Awesome, right? These guys go back and get their degrees. I'll be damned to say they could come do our jobs. They're athletic and smart enough. They can come do our jobs. Kyle, what you say, you work at a gas station? They could come in and be a clerk. I can't go run a 40 in 4.3 seconds. Like, get out of here, man.
Right.
Whatever, man. I'm not going to go all out in there, but yeah, I'm with you. Can CJ Ham play center? That's my favorite thing. So see if you guys can top that comment for the show. Said we should try Garrett Bradbury at fullback.
We know he can run with the ball.
He sure can.
We should trade him to the Jets. Isn't that what we did with the last shitty center we had at Elfline?
He went to
he's a starter now too.
Panthers. He's here. He's here in Carolina.
So the big rumor right now surrounding Vikings that we don't think are going to sign back is that Anthony Barr could be landing in Dallas.
Oh, nice. I didn't hear that.
That's what the rumor mill has been saying.
I figured he'd get a shot somewhere, after the draft kind of shakes out and teams kind of look at.
Did you expect him to sit in free agency this long though?
Yeah, I actually did. I thought that it would take until after the draft for someone to decide whether or not they wanted him.
Because last time the Jets were very aggressive, threw a lot of money at him, and it was very early as soon as he was available. And
that knee, man.
That whole situation, all it took was 1 year, and now he's just not getting the interest he should, and it's strange.
I think it's bad when we as fans heard through like league, it's just out there. Well, he's got arthritic knee problems. Like that's there forever. If we know that and we've heard that from people, I can't imagine it's any more. It's not like they overhyped it. They're probably downplaying it a little. It's probably worse than that. So, I mean, he's been in the league almost 8-9 years now.
Yeah.
He's certainly made a good living, but I still want to see him play. I still want to see him do well.
He's got that Subway endorsement money too.
Oh, that's right. That terrible sandwich sculpture of him. Oh, it was terrifying. That could be in a horror movie somewhere. Ugh.
Speaking of that, new season of Dark Mirror is coming. I'm excited. Love that show.
I don't know that I've heard of that. We'll talk about that in our personal one. Adam and I have some good movie reviews coming up. Some interesting stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's hop to it, man. We don't have to wait much longer. This is cool. I'm going to share this just for a minute. We're not going to do this whole shared screen for the entire show. That would suck. But I've got it zoomed in just enough where you guys can see it all, and it's a cool graphic. So I'm going to share the screen. This is the Vikings schedule. And yeah. Wow. I restarted my computer, and everything is just... Google wanted to record my screen right now. They're listening in, guys.
There you go.
Everyone.
That is a cool graphic. I haven't seen that one.
Pretty sweet. Yeah, I had to find decent ones. I was getting the one from 2020 and then 2021, but this is the Vikings 2022 schedule.
All right. Let's each talk about one thing. So let's start with Kyle West. Talk about one thing from the schedule.
One thing about the schedule that I liked, because one of them that I always look forward, that I look for on these kinds of releases, is do we have a lot of back-to-back road games? Because I think when you have those 3 or 4 week stretches where you're on the road, that's where you get your big trap games from. That's where an opponent that you should beat will sneak up and it turns into a loss. And then that steamrolls into bad things later on the schedule. I think this is a pretty favorable look from the Vikings because we don't really have a big stretch of away road games like that. It's a pretty even split of home and away in terms of how they're broke apart on the schedule. So I like that aspect of it.
To your point, Kyle, there's only 2 back-to-back road games at the end. Now, they are pivotal games in the division. And, that's going to be brutal in January at both of those places outdoors. But, I mean, who knows? Got faith in this team. They've done crazier things at the end of the year. My takeaway from this is the month of November is going to be absolutely effing brutal. don't sleep on the Washington Commanders. That field sucks. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. I don't want to see anyone.
Don't say Commanders.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was habit. I don't want to say the other thing. The football team in Washington.
Washington football team.
That was so much better. Much better. This could be a trap game here. I feel this could be a trap game. This could be that one game where Carson Wentz looks like he's freaking Tom Brady.
That's the Kirk revenge game. What are you talking about?
I know. That's going to be fun. I do not like at Buffalo. I think they are going to beat the living dog shit out of us. I have a bad feeling we don't match up well with them. They've got a running game now. It's always tough against the Cowboys, even though it's at home. I like it being at home, but they have embarrassed us the last 2 times we played them, and it's frustrating. I don't like Bill Belichick ever. I'm ready for him to retire and one of his little dweebs to take over. And that's a short week right there. It's on Thanksgiving.
You got the Matt Gritty. We're going to get to see the Matt Gritty.
And what's going to be embarrassing if it's one of those games where he only throws 3 times and they still beat us like they did to Buffalo last year. I don't like November at all, but to your point, Kyle, I like the variety here. There's a ton. Look at this. 3 home games. I mean, we got lucky with that. And week 7 is not the best buy, and I'd like to see it around week or 9 or 10, but it's not bad. I think this is a winnable schedule.
Now, you were talking about how brutal November is, and I'm going to talk about how I really like what's going on in December here. Because they start things off against the Jets. And not only is it a game against the Jets, but it's a long week where they get a lot of time to prepare for the Jets. The excuses there would be absolutely terrible if something were to happen and Minnesota somehow lost that game in week 13 against the Jets. That'd be absolutely baffling. Then they have their only road game of the month where they go to Detroit and play in another dome. And honestly, I don't think Detroit's done enough to really be contenders so far. I know that they've got some good draft picks, but as long as they've got the quarterback they have, I'm not really too scared. Up comes the one questionable game where the Vikings run defense will be tested to the limit. I'm not a Matt Ryan believer, but I do think in the right situations he can thrive. And with that run game in Indy, he'll be able to take advantage of a lot of things that just could be a little bit of a stumper. But the positive thing there, again, is that they get to play that game at home. Then they close out the month on Christmas Eve, going up against the Giants. And honestly, I have no faith in the Giants. I know that they're trying. You said
about Detroit, this is exactly how I feel about Daniel Jones here.
They're trying. They're trying real hard to rebuild, and I think they're doing it the right way. They're bringing in some talent. They had a really good draft this year, but I still don't think they're there where they're going to be competitive. So when I look at that month, I see 3 teams that were picked in the top 5, and then we've got the Colts at home as really the only real challenge in that month. So, yeah, I mean, for what November brings in challenges, December, they can kind of take a little bit of time to regroup before what comes in January with those 2 road division games to end the season.
You know what sucks, guys? I just realized, so I click on the other tab. It takes over my whole screen. I have never once on this show where I've shared a screen seen that we're all still on here. Thank God it wasn't picking my nose or something crazy there. I didn't know that.
I was picking your nose crazy. I mean, there's a lot worse things you could be doing.
No, I know, but I didn't know. This is a great feature. I got to shout out StreamYard for that you can share the screen within the screen. I love that feature so much. I did not know that it did that. Has it always done that?
I don't know. You must have found a different way to do it somehow.
Okay, so John Young brings this up. And me and Mr. Kyle West have been arguing about this back and forth and back and forth. Now, the CBA says that teams can't start having their bye weeks until week 6. But Kyle West, he keeps telling me that the Vikings declined having a week 5 bye, which, again, would violate the CBA. So they would have had to have gotten CBA approval to have that bye in the first place. So I'm wondering, were they going to make a special exception and then vote on it?
Yes. Well, and I was just listening to this on Score North, and they confirmed that the NFL was going to give the Vikings the bye after that, even though that would have put it, like you said, ahead of when teams usually get it. And Minnesota they elected to turn it down. So they were ready to make an exception for the Vikings to do it. And it's interesting that this is the way they worded it. So I don't know if this is hearsay or what actually went down, but the way they worded it, they said that Minnesota actually requested to have a home game instead of a bye week, and that they were granted that. So we're getting some flexibility here on the scheduling thing.
What was nice too is that the Vikings had 9 home games, which is definitely something interesting because I can't remember this ever happening in the history of the franchise. And their one game that was supposed to be up in the air, the one that's going to be played in London, is a home game for the Saints. So there's a lot to like about this schedule. And although there are some things that could be tough, I still consider it to be one of the better ones.
Do you guys have a bold prediction about any of the games? Just something that jumps out that you think might happen, or a tough loss that might jump out, or anything?
I would keep an eye on Week 6.
Yeah, Dolphins, I was just going to say that. Fuck, man, the Dolphins are going to be tough. And it's not because the weather's going to be bad. I just think the entire team around that quarterback is great. And we'll see what the coach does. I don't know about believing in that coach from San Francisco, but I don't like the quarterback down there. But I mean, he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle now, so that's terrifying. Yeah, I think the trap game on the schedule, I highlighted, it's Washington. I could see that going very badly. And I don't like that they have to go back-to-back at Washington and at the Bills. I would hate for them to go off. Maybe if they win against the Cardinals, it's at home, which is nice. Last year we were in Arizona. But I would hate for them to go loss at Washington, at Buffalo, and then you have Dallas and then primetime against New England. That has a potential to get ugly.
The worst part of this whole schedule is the road outdoor possible bad weather games. Chicago, Green Bay, Buffalo, Washington. All those games right there could potentially be really tough playing outside in weather that is not great.
That's an excellent point. And ending the season with those 2 outdoor games is going to be tough, especially with a Vikings team that could potentially be fighting tooth and nail at the very end of the season for a playoff berth. Like, they're going to be challenged at the end. My bold statement, I think Week 8, Arizona, I think Minnesota's absolutely going to blow them out.
Wow, all right.
Yeah,
I like it.
I don't believe in Arizona and Kyler Murray right now.
Is it because they lost their best receiver to Jacksonville?
That has part to do. No, you know what?
And the other guy to freaking suspension. Oh, it's tough.
I don't think Kyler Murray has his head in the right place right now. I don't know. I still don't know what's going on with him. And I don't necessarily believe in their head coach either. So there's a potential that the wheels could be falling off the wagon for them by Week 8. And I think Minnesota is just going to walk away with it.
Well, we look at the schedule and we see a lot of questionable quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts in Philly is, I don't know if they're looking to change things up there or if they want to see more from him as they're kind of trying to evaluate what's going on. I don't know. Goff in Detroit is a big question mark. The Saints, again, I don't know what to expect from the Saints quarterback situation.
I see the Saints and the Dolphins being kind of similar games because quarterback I don't really believe in. I don't know much about the coach. There's talent on both of those teams. They've got great receivers on both of those teams. Defenses are good on those teams. I just don't know if I believe in the coach and the quarterback. I like that London game is considered an away game for us. I don't know. There's a couple sprinkled in where you have like the Zach Wilsons and the Jared Goffs and the Justin Fields. I don't believe in Justin Fields.
And the Carson Wentz's.
And the Carson, he's so bad. But yeah, this is not a thing we haven't said before. This could be a 12-5 season. This could be a 7-10 season. I don't know. I'm anxious to get it started because Week 1 against Green Bay is not how I want to start the season. And then going to was that a Monday night game against Philly? Don't sleep on Philadelphia either. They are the best run team from last year. And what's crazy is like Jalen Hurts isn't going to wow you with his arm.
No,
but they can do enough. And they got another great receiver. They got AJ Brown now. So
is Minnesota going to be able to contain the run game better though? Now that they're going to be doing a lot more 3-4 looks. I think that's going to be a big benefit.
I also think they'll be able to rush the passer better than they did last year. Those sacks are very misleading.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So many question marks right now, and we really don't. This is the first time in a long time that I can look at this team and not have the answers for what I think is going to happen, because we don't know. We don't know with the coaching staff. We don't know with the defense. We don't know how they're going to use draft picks. It's like it's really tough for me to sit here and project a win-loss total.
Cliff says you guys should go to the ones at Ford Field. Sir, I don't want to be mean to the city of Detroit, but I have no desire ever to go there. I don't think I ever have a desire to go to that city for any reason.
It would take something special to get me to go to Detroit.
RoboCop.
I love you, Cliff, and I'm sure that's probably where you're at, but I can't justify.
Maybe WrestleMania 3. I'd go watch that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Green Bay at home to start. That'll be fun. No Devontae Adams. We'll see how that goes. At Philadelphia, I marked that as a loss on the schedule.
Yeah, that's a bad game right there.
That could be one of those trap games too. I mean, they're just figuring stuff out, but could be a tough matchup. Who knows? Maybe they'll go in there.
And that Saints roster is looking so good, but again, new head coach, should be some new things going on there. They're getting all their receivers back healthy. It's going to be different from the previous matchups in a big way. So we can't just say Minnesota always finds a way to beat the Saints, because you're gonna see that on Twitter everywhere.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of throw a lot of those trends out the window, because this isn't the same team.
I'm excited. I'm really excited for this team and this schedule. I'm trying to make it to the week 3 home.
Did anyone else look at the graphic to the left of that schedule there and see Marcus Sherrills? I know it's supposed to be Dalvin Cook, but the way his hands covering the 33, it looks like a 35.
That's funny. I forgot his number. Adam has all the good, useful information. What do you guys think in the comments there? What do you think the record is? What are you feeling at first glance?
How many wins? But more important than how many wins, is this a roster? Is this a schedule that the Vikings can get the most of and actually make the postseason? Because whether or not the Vikings are a playoff team is going to fully depend on two things. One, their ability to beat the Packers in at least one of those head-to-head matchups. And two, how tough they're going to be in defeating the other contenders that are going to be in the NFC trying for one of those spots. Those games against the Saints, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, those games are going to be huge in the scope of things.
9 wins and we make the playoffs. I think I'd be good to go with 10-7 or 11-6. I definitely don't see more than 11 wins. There's just a couple question marks. As long as Bill Belichick is coaching, I'm never going to bet against him. I don't like the matchup against the Bills. There's going to be at least 2 losses in the first 8 weeks somewhere in there. Those are tough, but yeah, I could see 11-6.
So I assume we're all just going to roll with Kevin O'Connell is going to be a really big improvement over Mike Zimmer in terms of play calling and just like modernizing this offense.
I sure hope so.
Yeah. Well, they're off to a good start. I mean, I know it's only rookie mini camp. Like you can't read too much into that. It is interesting that Kevin O'Connell essentially called it a passing camp. Which
well, you can't really have a lot of contact or anything like that.
Right, but it's like what did Zimmer do during those situations? We don't know.
Not tell people hello when he passed them in the hall.
From what I understand, he didn't run a lot of the drills, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's the positional coaches doing their work, which again, I don't mind delegating duties, but you've got to be out there and just doing your thing and being at least visible and personable.
Yeah. Kevin O'Connell was talking about it's a little odd because he's used to having, hey, here's my positional group and I work with them and I run drills. And as the head coach, you stand back and you meander a little bit between everything and see what's going on. What I liked, though, is that he talked about how he can give his input to the defensive staff as, an offensive guy. Like, hey, here are some things that you can look for. Here are some things that make it difficult on a quarterback. He's leaning into his experience, as a positional coach, as a player. I think that will help him have success in Minnesota. You can tell it's the off season because, boy, we're optimistic right now.
Now, Kevin O'Connell needs to do a couple things very different from Mike Zimmer era. One is preparation. The Vikings never seemed to be prepared. They always kept with their strategy and said other teams have to beat what we're doing instead of adjusting to take on the strengths and weaknesses of other teams. He's to make mid-game adjustments, because that was another area where Mike Zimmer really struggled. Controlling the clock, time management, huge. Another area where Mike Zimmer just struggled as a head coach and couldn't get a lot done. Now, of course, I love that Mike Zimmer could manufacture pressure on defense and get to quarterbacks, disrupt things. And we saw that last year when they didn't really have pass rushers, but scheming allowed them to get pressures and sacks on the year based on that double A gap and blitzes and manufacturing that pressure. But the offense is where we're looking at. I don't think any of us would question that Mike Zimmer knows what he's doing on defense. The fact that this Vikings offense was so middle of the road when they should have been close to the top of the line is confusing.
Yeah.
I liked what Thomas said. I just took his comment down because it was up for a while, but he says the big thing is bringing preparation to be prepared, either hold the lead or go after the lead if lost. And on the flip side of that is don't play super soft-ass coverage if you're holding on to a lead and thinking, oh, well, we'll bend, not break. That Detroit game last year pissed me off probably the most of any game because you let them march down the field with what I feel like is that's an inferior team to this team. And they beat you, got their first win of the season, which made headlines, which is so embarrassing for us. I can live with sometimes, even though it's old news and it's repetitive, a kicker missing a field goal or an extra point. Right. I can live with that because the pressure there it's frustrating, but it happens. But when you're just giving up chunk play after chunk play, every pass is a first down. It's like, guys, what the hell are we doing here? You got to have some pressure. And for a guy that was the cornerback whisperer and the pressure maker, man, did he fold in letting leads go. And that was on him. I'm going to blame him solely for that because.
And what did Goff average last season? Like 180 passing yards a game?
Oh, it's embarrassing. Super embarrassing.
And he tore up that defense.
Especially at the end. That was a clutch game for them. And that pissed me off more than anything. Don't let that happen. Don't be afraid to send pressure. Look at the Rams Super Bowl. And I know this is isolating one play of one game from two teams, but it's down to the last minute. I'm not giving Joe Burrow extra time to throw to Jamar Chase and win the game. They dial up pressure with their best player and they go after him and they get the sack and they win the game. Do that. Put your best playmakers in the best positions to go do what they do best, man. That's all I ask of this coach. Don't do stupid shit like not start Justin Jefferson for 2 weeks because he's a rookie. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, I
doing?
can't. I am so glad to be over that mentality. You can already catch it from Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi, where they're talking about we need our rookies to contribute and be leaders right now. Like the expectations for Lewis Cine are to come in. You're going to come in and you're going to be a leader of the locker room. And by the way, your positional group has Harrison Smith in it. So that's a really big challenge for you to do. But this is what we are expecting of you. I like that. You count on your rookies to help you win games.
Speaking of Cine, I really loved that what I read from that quote about him about wanting to learn the name of everybody, from the guy that fills the water bottles to the guy who behind the desk when he walks in. He wants to learn everybody and respect them. And that kind of mentality, I think, is something that's lost in today's world. And I don't know.
A young man who's mature.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He seems like a good locker room guy, a good moral guy. And yeah, I don't know if we'd be seeing stories like that if this was under a Zimmer regime, because I'm not sure he'd be that open about being that way, because Zimmer seemed to close off a lot of things with players and make people feel a little uncomfortable based on his old school coaching style. And it feels like I'm sitting here just railing on Zimmer, but he was a good head coach. He had a good win-loss record in Minnesota. He was great as a defensive mind. When he had a good offensive mind next to him, this team was very, very good. But the problem was keeping people there because that approach just doesn't work anymore. It's not a knock on him. It's a knock on the approach.
Cliff says Lions wide receiver court might be better than ours. And I started to be like, no way. But they got DJ Chark. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I forgot about him. Jameson Williams is going to be a stud for sure. Number 2 for left is Quintez Cephas. I remember his name a couple times. Outside of that, I don't remember any of these guys.
It's fun to say.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good point.
Quarterback. If Detroit can get themselves a quarterback a couple years down the line, like
no.
They can go all in here soon.
I know.
Stay in the gutter, boys.
And I don't blame them for not taking a quarterback in this draft. I really don't.
Thomas Bush says, I'm just super excited for the coaches, let alone a favorable season. Another bold prediction. I think Kevin O'Connell will be nominated as coach of the year. Ooh, all right. We can worry about them once Green Bay. We can worry about them once they get a quarterback. Yeah. It's funny. One of my first sergeants in the military, my last deployment was to Kuwait. And fun story for you guys that have never been in the military, not the Air Force specifically. In my old job, the Army will send an entire brigade of people, like from the base, like Fort Bragg will send a whole unit of soldiers together. They know each other. The Air Force will call people and be like, I need 7 people from this base, right? So they just nitpick, handpick, we'll send somebody here. Well, I had a National Guard guy who was my first sergeant, and he was a huge Packer fan. And like the day I check in, get all my bags, and find a room, I immediately talk shit to him. And it was like,
good job.
Yeah, always. Just fun banter. But we became friends. And he asked me on Facebook the other day when I posted, I was like, hey, I want to go to this Lions game week 3. And then my Charlotte area friends want to go. If not, I'll find somebody up there who can meet me. He goes, hey, come to Lambeau. And I was like, yeah, as soon as Aaron Rodgers is done playing for your team, I'll gladly come to Lambeau. I'm not going to that shithole stadium to watch the Vikings lose. I'm not going to do it. When you have Brett Hundley back, we'll do it if he's not a Viking quarterback this year.
I sat on bleacher seats at the University of Minnesota to watch the Vikings, and I don't want to sit on bleacher seats in Green Bay.
Not in January, dude. No. This is an okay assumption too. Andrew Laidala, there you go.
Boom.
I'm expecting a middling year. It's going to take some time to build and change culture. Hopefully I am wrong. Yeah. And hopefully if it does go like, another 8-9 deal, but they had promise and you can see it's going in the right direction. Hopefully fans will understand that. I really hope they make the playoffs. I like that every year, like half the playoff teams change. I think they have a chance. I also think the NFC is not nearly as stacked as the AFC. So I think they have a good chance.
Well, let's talk about this for a second, because how many wins, if the Vikings get, would it take you to start panicking that this regime is going to be a failure?
Oh, this year for me,
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any like, oh my God, the regime's a failure this season. Not at all.
So 2 wins, you're fine.
There's got to be a bigger reason than that. Like if he just looks like, oh my God, nothing. But I just don't see that happening. I don't.
I was going to say, if you're crawling around 3 or 4 wins and it's like painfully
that's panic time. 4 wins is panic time.
Yes. If it's painfully obvious that you're 4 wins and, you've got outcoached and, the play calling looks as bad as what it did last year. Okay. We can panic a little bit, but I think, if you win 7-8 games, you look competent, and if there's weird shit that happens because it's Minnesota, so hey, Herb Smith gets hurt again, and whatever, Dalvin Cook goes down again, whatever, because we're Minnesota, and that always happens. Okay, we tried on some of the veterans, and okay, maybe it didn't quite work out. I'm okay with that, because what I said, I said this before, is that you can give it a year and try it, and you can blow this team out like what so many people wanted us to do this season. You can blow it out, and you can restart again next year, and I'm okay with that.
I just see the schedule we talk about, and I don't see how they lose to a team like Detroit twice, the Bears twice, the Jets, the Giants. There's some shitty teams on there, and if it's anything vindicative of the roster and we can predict on based on talent and stuff, this was kind of outdated last year. Clint Kubiak shares a lot of blame for some of those losses last year. Like the Browns game, that was a doo-doo fest. One of the worst games I've ever seen offensively. Obviously,
3rd and 17, 4-yard pass.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what's crazy too? I have to make fun of myself like I did earlier because you got to keep yourself honest. I had no idea who our offensive coordinator was. So I've been Googling while we're here. It's Wade Phillips' son, Wes Phillips.
Yeah, Wes Phillips.
I'm really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
He had the role of passing game coordinator for his title in his 2021 campaign. Not bad.
It's a lot of coaches in new roles, and honestly, this is a chance for them to establish themselves and come out and prove that they know what they're doing. There might be a chance that it might be a little too big for some of them, but that's a risk you take.
Here's another fun fact. This is another quarterback turned coach. So we have our offensive coordinator and our head coach, both former quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I wonder what way this team's going to lean.
Right, and that's all speaks well for Kirk Cousins on just having as many people who can help him go to that next level as possible. I was going to say the one coaching hire that worries me is we have Mike Pettin floating around somewhere out there on defense, and I'm not a big fan of him. I just don't like that. So I hope he's not in too large of a role for this team.
Would you be worried if they started out 1-3? No, I've seen them do it before. I think the 2019 campaign, they were 2-2 and kind of like meddling around at 500, and then they turned it around and had like a 5 or 6 game win streak.
I mean, you can't be too upset if they take a loss to Green Bay week 1 because it is still Green Bay. It is still
then losing to Philly on the road.
Yeah,
it's understandable.
Right.
This is fun too. Just reading. This is February 21st, right after Wes Phillips was hired. Tight end success in Washington. Phillips coached Pro Bowl tight end Jordan Reed for 5 seasons. During his 3 seasons with the Rams, tight end Tyler Higbee's stats took a forward leap. Last year, he had 69 catches. Nice. For 734 yards. Oh, that was 2019. He caught a career high 5 touchdowns in 2020 and matched that total his past season. So passing game and tight ends. So Irv season comeback here. All right.
Stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy, it's going to be nice.
Man, I didn't know any of this. I am such a terrible Vikings fan to be on a show talking about it. I was just so excited that I know where the head coach came from. We know who the defense coordinator is.
There is so much turnover on this staff. It's tough to keep track of it. I mean, we're going all the way down into like there's a new trainer.
I think Keenan McCardell is one of the only ones that stuck around.
Yeah. No more Donut Club. No more Eric Sugarman. Like I don't even know who they replaced Sugarman with. Do you?
They announced it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure there, but yeah, this. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm going to hope for the best.
Oh, from our stuff the other day, Adam Carlson had us at 10-7.
I did.
I had us at 11-6.
Boom.
Kyle West, would you like to give us a prediction?
He doesn't see a loss on the schedule.
I don't see a loss on the schedule. I was adding extra wins to my total, remember?
yeah, you said 18-0.
Yeah, 19-0. We're going to play some Canadian teams. I think we're probably a 10-win team.
And I think Minnesota can return to the playoffs this year. I think they can. They have the talent. They really do.
I had a weird thought today. I watched Colin Cowherd today because he's finally back. I was watching Joy for a week, and that was delightful.
That's a joy.
She is. B-Rob should be on Vikings Entertainment. He absolutely should. Hire that man immediately. Yeah, I had a thought today because he was going through which teams he thought were playoff or way off because he always does corny-ass word games.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Tampa Bay will probably be the team to beat in the NFC just because Brady's back and they're too good. He said he thinks Minnesota wins this division, and if that happens, I mean, optimistically, I'll give you kind of his thing, like the high end and the low end. I think this could be a 2 seed in this conference. I do.
Over the Rams, huh?
I just don't. I can't buy into a team doing that well all the time if you're not Tom Brady. Plus, they lost a lot of people. I mean, you lose your offensive coordinator. I don't know if OBJ is going to come back. I don't know if they lost Von Miller. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do now. I'm not saying they're going to be a bum team by any means. I still think they make the playoffs, but I don't know. And the thing in San Francisco, like that was my next biggest, like for sure.
But the Rams lose OBJ and they get Allen Robinson.
Oh, that's right. He'll thrive. He'll be all right.
He'll do well. He'll eat.
And deservedly so for being in prison for however long he was in Chicago.
Yeah, poor kid.
And the 49ers, I thought that was like the shoe-in, like for sure NFC team that could get in. They don't even know who their starting quarterback is, man.
No, they have no idea.
And I'm hearing, I know you guys are hearing it on the internet too, on Twitter's. Trey Lance ain't looking like he's all that. So,
and I'm still trying to figure out if Seattle's throwing the season.
They should sign Baker Mayfield. At least he'll be competitive. You can't tell me, even Pete Carroll, like, unless he's just out the door and he's just like, well, I'm going to pour gasoline and light a fire on the way out. I don't care about this place. Like, you'll be competitive with Baker. You can't seriously go in the season with, like, Drew Lock's our guy. Okay, bud. Okay. That's another, that's another Brock Osweiler waiting on you. And I wouldn't even give him that credit because Brock won some games to get them to maintain their record to go to the postseason. Like,
Paxton Lynch. Nice. There you go.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, the NFC is going to look a lot different this year.
And there's always that turnover. I was saying earlier, there's always at least 50% or more of the playoff teams turn. And last season, according to the Zimmer effect, was supposed to be a playoff year because it was every odd year, and it wasn't. So we're overdue to go to the playoffs, and schedule's not impossible. It is on the lower spectrum of strength. It's in the bottom half. So
yeah,
we'll see. I think the key games to look for is that Colts game is going to be weird because we haven't won against the Colts since like 1996, some crazy thing like that. It's wild
been a long
stat.
time.
It's been a long time since we.
Yeah, I saw Dustin Baker share that stat, and it's been forever.
I think we can break that this year. That's one of the ones I penciled in and said we're going to power through that weird thing, even though they're a good team. Yeah, I just keep seeing that Washington game, and I just don't like it. And I don't even know if I'm going to watch the Bills game. I think they're in a class above us, and I still have like PTSD from that first year with Kirk when Josh Allen like hurdled Anthony Barr, and they just shit all over us.
You want to know something kind of funny though?
Yeah.
For the second time in 3 years, the Detroit Lions do not have a primetime game.
I mean, are we counting Thanksgiving?
It wasn't in primetime. It was a day game.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Wartag, what's up? Well, YouTube off. It's been a while. Hey, we're good. We're talking about the schedule and how we don't see any losses. Kyle West actually has us winning an extra game that we didn't have. So
yeah,
this is even better. This is the best season ever for Vikings fans. Now we had it up here in case you wanted to see. Adam said 10-7. I said 11-6, and Kyle West said 10-6. So we're hopeful we'll go back. Did we not? Yeah, Monday night is going to be week 2.
Yep, against the Eagles. And also keep in mind that there were no games, I believe, officially scheduled for Monday night or Sunday night on the schedule for the last 2 weeks of the season. I believe those are both going to be flexed.
Mm-hmm.
And have they given an official date for the Colts game? Good date and time?
December 16th or 17th or 18th. They have not.
Okay.
So they'll flex that too. You know who you will see a lot of in prime time? Because I heard this on Cowherd today as well. Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. Good God, are they going to shove that team down your throat?
Because I was reading that Bad Bunny and Lady Gaga and a couple other like tours really made making this NFL schedule really hard this year.
I agree with Cliff.
She is so talented and she is so beautiful, but I think her music is fucking terrible. It's just such a as a music fan, it
waiting all day for
heart.
Sunday night.
Oh, she can sing forever, but I just nope. I'm a Miranda Lambert kind of guy. Give me her over Carrie Underwood all day. We get +1 wins for no games lost to injury. Why am I reading that weird? I don't understand that.
He means that whenever we don't have an injury, we get an extra +1 in the win column.
I like that idea.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So every game that Herb Smith and or Dalvin Cook is healthy throughout the whole game, we just
Danielle
get a
Hunter.
+1. Yeah,
All right, so let's play a little game to end this because we're getting close to the end here. What is one thing you absolutely, that's underlined 3 times, absolutely do not want to see this team do this season?
Oh, that's fun.
Absolutely do not want to see them do this season. Don't get swept by the Bears or the Lions. I don't care if you split with the Packers. I don't care if you split in the division 3-3 with all the. Let's say you lose all the road games, you win all the home games. Do not get swept by the Lions or the Bears. You can't afford that. Can't afford it.
What do you got, Wes?
I'm gonna give you a scenario. We're gonna get a football scenario right now because I hate this shit more than anything. Now you got me irritated, Adam, for a thing that hasn't even happened yet.
Now you got me. I love irritated Kyle West.
Okay, so we're winning the football game. The opposing team has the ball and they're backed way up on their own end zone. And we've been getting pressure on him all night. Danielle Hunter he's just a sack machine on the field. And the final drive, we're just prevent defense and let them get big chunk yardage and go all the way down and take it into overtime. And then there'll be some new rule change that none of us are aware of. And for some reason, we'll lose it because of that. And this is what's going to happen. And just can we just not do the prevent defense, take it to overtime?
Yeah.
Bullshit. And can we just finish a game for once? I just want to finish a game for once.
It'd be nice to see.
You know what I absolutely didn't want to see? Both teams getting it in overtime.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't want to see. So that was my one. But they vetoed that. So welcome to getting rid of defense in the NFL. That's stupid. Stupid rule, NFL.
It's all about the offense these days. Ugh. But what I absolutely, under no circumstance, want to see
is Kellen Mond taking
the Minnesota Vikings hiring Ragnar back. Never want to see it happen. Please don't. Never. Bring back Vicodontis Rex if you have to.
I was going to say, what about Vicodontis?
But Ragnar, I mean, the time's passed on him, and with everything we've heard about him, and
that weird commercial he did for in the snow with Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you.
So
I thought you were going to say Wildcat formation, Adam. I really thought.
If Minnesota can run a Wildcat formation right, then I'm all for it. What I don't want to see, though, in a littler instance, is I don't want to see more of these sloppy screens that don't develop and aren't taking place in a way that you can even get the football to the player.
Yeah, a screen, I feel like, is a very basic play. How come Minnesota has struggled so
It's been
mightily?
so bad.
They've been so bad at running
It's
screens.
Kirk Cousins' fault, Kyle. You didn't know that?
No, it's not.
Just ask Twitter.
Those passes for the screens are too far. Kurt needs to dump it closer.
How come none of us mentioned that it's third down, 3rd and 17, and we throw it?
You do a fucking draw.
Well, I mentioned that earlier, though, but I didn't want to double down on it.
Yeah, or either a draw or a 3.
Cliff. Don't even say that, Cliff.
Yeah, I'm not putting that up there, Cliff. That's bad juju. Penalty box, 2 minutes for that.
If I were on Twitch and I could do my little 5-minute ban, that would be it right there.
He's a good kid. He wouldn't.
That's a good thing, Adam. I like that. That was fun. Especially when you put me on the spot like that, man. I don't like thinking on the fly.
It's fun to change things up a little bit.
That was great. That was fun.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank everyone who joined us in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And we love when you guys ask questions and comment. You can check out my work over on the Viking Age. I've been putting out quite a few articles over there. Had a pretty poor month last month, so I could really use some help with some views because the kiddies need to get fed, and I still got house repairs to do. So if you can help me out, I appreciate that greatly. At MN Viking Zombie, we're planning on doing some horror reviews over on Twitch. I put up pictures of my cats sometimes on Instagram. I'm talking about weird stuff like Veer on Twitch on the Twitter. So yeah, hit me up. Let's do some conversation and have some virtual cake because I like cake.
Adam, I'm going to ask you on the fly and on the spot here. Thursday night, you have any plans? We could do a movie review.
We can work on it. I like it.
I'll get it in between now and then. I'm going to promote my stuff. We'll end with Kyle West. If you guys want to be my friend on social media, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, this is it. I booked another show today for the month of June. I've got a lot of stuff in the wing. I'm waiting to do more shows. I'm going to try to do more of the videos on social media. Hilarious, though. You guys would have loved this today. So I made this banner. It was one of my current profile pictures.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, it was funny. I had this picture in the backyard. I was sitting on my mom's old swing, and I just made a black border around it, and I put my name in white and some white stuff underneath it with like a dash. Everyone thought that I was dead and that I put up a memorial photo today. Yeah, it was awesome. And it was like, guys, no, I see it now. Didn't even dawn on me. So I changed it.
I had to stop scrolling too because I was like, what?
I'm not dead. Hopefully it's not my time for a very long time, but no, I'm not dead. I'm so not dead. You should follow my Instagram and my other stuff here at NC Dog Dude.
Now, if you're playing some country music, I do have a recommendation for you.
Okay.
Whatever size jeans you have, take like 2 or 3 sizes smaller. Because women love country music stars in the tightest possible jeans.
It's true, but I have that Hank Hill ass. You know what I'm talking about? It's like 2 little toothpicks with just a little end of a hot dog on the end. I have nothing, man. Maybe I can. Maybe if I get my chest tattooed right here, I can start doing the V-neck, so you can just see ink. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna do that this summer now. I'm getting a neck tattoo right here, or chest. Sorry, no neck. We got to keep it below the shirt line, but we'll do some V-necks, man.
Don't do the neck. You're not a Gen Z. Gen Zs do the neck and the face and the weird shit.
You can't post when you're ready. Internet rule. That's
Yeah.
Oh, can't post when you're dead. Internet rule. Yeah, that's funny. It's like if somebody like took over today. I like 10 people messaged me. They're like, "You son of a bitch! I thought you were dead." I was like, I didn't even think about that. I'm not. That didn't even cross my mind. But I won't do a black background with white letters and dashes. I will do the fancy stuff. This is what happens when I don't know what I'm doing and Kyle West doesn't help me design shit. It looks like I created my own obituary.
Oh, speaking of dead things, I don't think I've updated my website in a couple months, longer than a couple months. If I'm being
Doesn't mean there's not great stuff on there to buy, though.
There is good stuff up on there, and you definitely should check it out.
If you can check that out, it's pinned to the top of our Facebook page. You can click on that and get some cool thing done. To the one person that has hung out the entire time on Twitch, you're still the MVP. I love that you're hanging out there. Thank you so much. I always appreciate that because we're trying to stream in different places. I see most people are YouTubers. We get some folks over on the Facebook, and got to kind of stream it on over there to the Twitch too. So thank you.
Netflix.
Netflix. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? So on behalf of both Kyles and myself, once again, thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week, and stay classy, Minnesota.